Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Langevin yesterday at HASC asked for people to testify about the president's defense budget. He was told that witnesses have been directed by you explicitly not to speak to the president's budget requests. This has never happened in the history of Congress, whether it was President Reagan, President Bush. Can you explain why you gave an illegal directive obstructing Congress to tell witnesses not to testify?
I didn't.
Are you claiming that your office did not give that directive?
We typically like to have this OMB testimony be the first testimony, so that may be what you're referring to, but in terms of not allowing agency heads to speak about the president's budget, that's not true.
So it's your testimony that you completely are okay with having agency heads testify, and that the witnesses yesterday, if they implied that you or OMB had instructed them not to do so, are lying?
Not lying. My gut is that they are reflecting the reality that we want the OMB testimony here in the House Budget Committee to be the first set of testimony on behalf of the president's budget, and then to let agency heads go from there. That's my guess of what they were referring to. But the idea that we would not want agency heads to go to the Hill and talk about the president's budget is not true.
Did you tell them in any time that not to talk to the committees until you did?
I'm sure we had communication with agencies along those lines, but I certainly didn't. I'm sure, like as I've said, we provide guidance to agencies that says we don't want agency heads to go up to the Hill until we have an opportunity to come before this committee.
But for going forward, now that you will be completely fine with agency heads going to...
Of course, it's a vital aspect of this process.
In terms of the president wanting to lower drug costs, what is your view on H.R. Bill 3 and whether that would do that?
We have concerns with that piece of legislation. We put out a statement of administrative policy against it. We appreciate the desire, the intent to lower drug prices, but our Council of Economic Advisors looked at that piece of legislation and said it would lead to shutting down a third of the innovative drugs that are in the pipeline. CBO didn't have numbers quite as large as that, but they also said that there would be an impact on innovation. So look, we want to get to the same place that you all are in terms of lowering prescription drugs. We would love to have a bill on the president's desk. This is one of the areas of bipartisan work that we would want to endeavor to pursue. It's one of the reasons why we've had in this budget, in years past, we provide a lot of specificity. In this budget, we provide a general allowance to be able to have the House and the Senate work its will with us not providing new proposals.
But does the president have a plan? I mean, he's rejecting our plan. Has he offered a plan of what he would support?
We've certainly offered plans in the past, things like having a price cap in Medicare Part B, reforming the Medicare Part D plan to put a catastrophic cap for seniors and to change some of the disincentives. Some of those proposals are reflected in H.R. 3, but we are very concerned to the extent that we don't want to fall on the other side of the balance of impacting innovation. And I would just say, as the father of someone that, of a child that has cystic fibrosis, is about to go on to medication that is disease halting, that kind of groundbreaking, innovative prescription drugs is what we want to make sure that future kids,
I think we all want to do that. I just want to
have access to in the future.
I think we all want to do that. On infrastructure, there's been a sense that the president wants to work with us. We've gone, the speaker is gone, the Senate leader is gone. They agree on doing an infrastructure bill, and then 2 days later, nothing happens because there's no agreement by the president on how to pay for it. We are going to be working on an infrastructure bill that the House Democrats will propose. Will the president be committed to actually passing it and offering pay-fors through the Senate with it?
Congressman, I think your question actually reveals the problem with where we are in infrastructure, which is that we want to pay for it by providing spending cuts and reforms. You all, every time we try to have a conversation about infrastructure, the expectation is that we're going to roll back the president's tax increase or tax cut. We're not going to do that. We're not going to have anything that raises taxes on this.
Let me just have one final quick follow-up, but why wouldn't you be willing to just fund infrastructure, which actually would lead to 3% economic growth? I mean, why are you insisting? You didn't have all pay-fors on your tax cuts, and the economists agree infrastructure actually would lead to growth, so why doesn't the president just commit he's going to do a infrastructure bill?
He has committed to doing an infrastructure bill. There's a $1 trillion infrastructure package in this budget resolution. It continues to be a priority, and we put forward savings along those lines because infrastructure has been something that's been paid for, but we're providing 4.4 in spending reductions and deficit reduction that could be used for potential pay-fors.